Steven Universe. It's my favorite show. One of my favorite shows. It was my favorite show during its runtime, which was 7 years, believe it or not. Started in 2013, a year before I graduated high school and all that jazz. So good, it made 3 games, a movie, an epilogue series, comics. It did a collab with Dove, the soap. It was premium premiere quality, if I say so. And I do, since it's my video. Apologies for it being late. I'm trying to get into doing it on Monday schedule, which you can't do it on Monday if everybody's at home. And if everybody's at home being bored, they try to entertain themselves. So they're like, let's play music loud and stuff. So I've been trying to wait for the planets to align and the Bifrost to open so I can record this video in as close to silence as I possibly can. So here we are. Steven Universe. It's a good show. I love this show. I've went to cons and some of the merchandise. Some of the merchandise has been purchased for me by some of my friends. Shout out to my best friend, Suave Tempo, one of my best friends. He got me a jacket. I love it. I bought myself a hat. I bought myself a shirt, and my girlfriend. We both have like tees. And I have several Steven Universe-esque things around my house. This show brought a lot of people peace in some ways. Peace through representation, because not a lot of people get described in the day-to-day how they feel. Some people feel like they don't know why they belong here, and everybody sees them as screw-ups and mess-ups. But there's people out there that still love you, even though. There are people that feel like they have to be a leader, and everything they say has to be the concrete evidence of life that we need to go on to make a concrete advancement in the world. And sometimes that becomes stressful. It represents them too. It says, hey, being a leader is not something that someone just wakes up one day and is. And it's not easy to have people depending on you to make a decision. It tells the story of the people who are so loyal to a T of someone that when they leave their life, it makes your existence feel meaningless. And you have to find meaning again for yourself. It tells the story of going completely against the odds of what your family has planned for you, and just saying, this is the me I want to forge for myself. Yes, I appreciate what you've made for me, but at the end of the day, I am my own person, and I need to forge that path for myself. This show is amazing. So amazing, the creator had to fight for her right to represent the LGBT community, to not let no be an answer. To the point where it's gotten censored in some countries because they're like, we're not having that here. But in the US, we're like, no, we choose to accept this. And I hope the drag race outside is worth it, because people apparently drag race now that the roads are open, since we're all in the stay home pandemic. Thank you. But anyway, whew. She fought for the representation of LGBT to the point where it was going to be a make or break. It was going to be, I want this shown in my show or no. And it got pushed through. And I respect that. I appreciate that. I adore it so heavily. The creator of this show and all the hands that were a part of creating this masterpiece, bless them. Bless the creator. Bless the animators. Bless the storyboarders. They know how to tell a good story. And it took 7 years for this story to come to a full fruition of beginning, middle, end. And the end was mwah. It wasn't, some big battle against the big bad. It wasn't some 50 years into the future or 20 years into the future, this is how we all ended up. It was open. It was an open-ended ending to tell us, hey, the main character has to go on his way. The main character has to find out who he is. Because he started this as a kid. And now, at most, he's teenager going into young adult. And that's hard. Because he literally saved the universe as a kid. And you don't just do that as any regular schmegular kid. But it kind of works if you're like half alien. So he had the weight of solving all of the problems of his parents on both sides and becoming who he is today, fighting against the fact that everybody who saw him in some way, shape, or form compared him to his mother. His mother, sadly, was no longer with us during the run of the show, but he still had his supportive father, which towards the end of the show, a lot of people give slack for because his parenting methods weren't, the most concrete as a parent should be. But he also came from a place where restriction only equals resentment. So he came into parenting alone, first of all. And secondly, as someone who says, I can't restrict my child the way I have been restricted, or else there might be negative consequences. And it just so happens that, his family on his mother's side partially were already galactic dictators. So, yeah, restriction on one side is already apparent. He had to go break the chains of oppression on his mother's side because his, aunts were just terrible people. Aliens. And his father's side was like a normal family as it be, but it still had the distance of your father was the black sheep of his family to the point where he distanced himself to discover himself. So it didn't really give him a connection to his human side, which is part of the reason he struggles so much with identity, because everybody around him kept comparing him to his alien mother when, his human father is alive and well and lives in the same town with him. So you would think, I get to interact more with humans, I get to be a little bit more normalized. But he kind of pursued the aspect of finding out about his alien heritage, because as I wouldn't know myself personally, but I can only imagine as a child without a parent and finding out that that parent's life was extravagant and mysterious and wild. You would want to know more about that to understand yourself, especially since the alien part of that heritage now resides in you. So this show did leaps and bounds showing how it is to grow up, not just as some hybrid human being, but as people in general. People grow, people learn themselves and other people to the point where it's like, you can't say who you were 6 years ago and who you are today are the same person. The information you know today may be something you didn't know 6 or 7 years ago, and now that has changed your whole outlook on life. And you have to realize that even though the information you know kind of flipped your ideology up on its head, you still have a right to pursue knowing the truth and evaluating it for yourself. Because listening to one straight way that the story got told and another doesn't make concrete fact, because everybody tells the story from their own perspective. And this story, Steven Universe, its main ideology was love. Love the broken. Love the lost. Love the unmotivated. Love the misguided. Love everyone. And even if love isn't the key to, turning a galactic tyrant into a tolerable relative, at least for yourself, if not for the person you're showing love to, it's peace to an extent. And the community around this show, yes, it has its toxic points, and all bad apple. There's always a bad apple in a bunch, but the bad apples in this bunch, though they be bad, didn't ruin the bunch that is the people's lives that have been changed by this show. The people who have gotten closer to family and friends because of the show. The people who go celebrate and enjoy fandoms together, and the camaraderie of it all because of this show. And that in itself is... This show brought people together and helped us understand each other and ourselves better. Thank you, Rebecca Sugar, for these 7 years of pure knowledge in the form of fun-loving media meant to appeal to all ages. Because to say this cartoon is just for kids is missing some of the major themes that it covers. Because a kid can understand some of these themes going on in the earlier seasons and be like, I get it. But as they grow, the show grew. The show grew with them. And now they are able to understand and grab the concept of greater issues. And to that I say thank you. Because that helped me develop. I know it's helped countless people develop, but me personally, I'm saying thank you because it helped me develop. It helped me become who I am today, because this show came out, as I said, a year before I graduated. So I've grown up to this point that I am at now, from a teenager to a young adult with this show. And I can spit words through this mic for as long as possible. But all I can say in its simplest TLDR, which if you're still here, thank you for listening, is thank you, Rebecca Sugar. Thank you for the storyboarders, the artists, the voice actors, because I can't forget the voice actors. Mwah. Thank you all for helping me grow from a teenager to a young adult. It wasn't your intention to help us grow, maybe, entirely, but you did. So thanks.